Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, and we're going to talk about Edgin, and we're going to talk about a powerful life lesson that is sitting right in the middle of Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. So there's a conversation between Edgin and Doric. All right, so Edgin, the human bard, played by Chris Pine, and Doric, the tiefling druid. The wild shape, as Sophina calls her, who is played by Sophia Lillis. And so basically, they're getting the road team, they're getting the away team ready, and so Edgin and Simon Almer and Holga Kilgore go, and they request Doric to help them infiltrate Castle Never, which is in the the city of Neverwinter. And so she talks to them in an Emerald Enclave bar, right? And she's like, okay, you guys want to break in? And she's like, so Simon is going to Simon's going to handle the arcane seal that is, that's in the in Castle Neverwinter, that has all of Forge's treasure in it inside Castle Never's vault, right? And she's like, and Holga, you're a fighter, and you're going to help handle all those guards, right? And she's like, what are you here for, Edgin? And he's like, well, I'm a planner. I make the plan, right? And she's like, and she's like, well, the plan's made, so why do we need you? And he goes, well, in case the plan fails, right? And so she says, and this is important, listen to this carefully. She says, so you make plans that fail? And he goes, well, no, right? Like, and he's trying to tell her why he's valuable. But I'm here to tell you that making plans that fail is valuable, right? And so there's this running joke, right, that you make these plans and then they fail and then you replan. And Doric's like, well, what is the good of that? And I'm telling you right now, this is a huge life lesson from the movie Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. And making plans that fail is invaluable. It is absolutely one of the most valuable things you can do in the entirety of your life, right? It is incredibly important, and it is extremely important that you make plans that fail, right? So let's discuss this, right? So why is it important that we make plans that fail? So first of all, plans are incredibly valuable, right? So I made, when I was a young man, I made a plan that I would go to college, right? And I was going to get a political science degree because I wanted to be the president of the United States of America. That's not a joke. That was literally my aspiration, right? That plan failed, right? And so actually, I knew in my senior year that I did not like politics, because I actually had an internship in my senior year, and I worked for a politician, and I watched him walk around and talk to the people of Pennsylvania, and I was like, oh my gosh, he lies constantly, and people loved him, and I was like, this is terrifying. Politicians lie, and people absolutely desire and run straight into the arms of liars constantly. And it terrified me, right? So I'm in my final year. I'm like a few credits away from getting my political science degree. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to work in politics, right? And so my plan to become the president of the United States failed because I didn't want to work in local politics, because it looked horrifically terrible to me when I saw it up front, when I saw how the sausage was made, right? So I had this plan that failed, right? And the reality is, I just replanned, and and I didn't know what I was going to do. And here was my idea, right? So one, I had fallen in love with this beautiful lady when I was 19 years old. She's my wife today. We've been married for 30 years, right? And with 3 months to go in my degree, I realized that my entire plan for my career was going to fail, right? So I brought a new plan, which would be I would get a job. I had a degree in political science, and I got a job writing a novel, right? That was gonna, and I got a job. No, I'm sorry. I got a job as a security guard, and on my shift, I would literally carry around a piece of paper, and I wrote down a novel on those pieces of paper as I did my shifts, right? Like, and you know, and it worked. And none of the places were ever broken into. I made sure that, you know, I was able to do both, right? But my plan to be a successful novelist failed, right? But I kept working hard to, you know, support my family. And when my novel plan failed, I realized, hey, every job I'm ever in, everybody asks me questions about computers. Maybe I should just go into computers. And so I did. I went in and I got a computer job, and I started in just literally taking calls at a tech company, and it worked out great. And that, you know, and that was the plan that succeeded, right? But I made a plan and it failed. I made a plan and it failed. I made a plan and it succeeded, right? Like, and, you know, and plan B had a stink on it, just exactly like Edgin said. But believe it or not, making plans that fail is incredibly valuable, and it is actually 100%, right? The success path to life, right? You make a plan, you execute the plan, and if the plan fails, you replan, right? And here's the part why Edgin's advice, right? Edgin's advice, not by his words, but by his actions, right? He never was ashamed. He really wasn't ashamed of failed plans. He was like, that, you know, hey, plans fail. We're going to replan and we're going to overcome the obstacles with a new plan, right? And he would just rename them. And the reason why he would rename them is he was creating something. He was creating a path through the future, right? And really what was allowing them to be carried through was there was a value in the plan, but each plan was a hope, right? A belief that them as a team, that they as a team would work together and overcome the obstacles. And actually, life is making plans that fail, failing until you hit that plan that succeeds, right? But get this, even when you're failing, it's the people you're with, right? So I met my wife in year 1 of my college degree, right? And I had to tell her, you know, when I was like 3 months away from getting my degree, I do not want to do the thing that I got my degree in. And I met my wife on the way, right? She is my team, right? Like, I am her team, right? We are together. We adventure through this life together, right? And sometimes just the people you meet, right, along the way as you're planning and failing, right? When you make plans that fail, the journey is important, right? And Edgin is the absolute perfect manifestation of this. And he is the leader of the team. The leader of the team. He just makes plans that fail, right? Constantly, right? And he's still the leader of the team. Planning is invaluable, right? And get this. You've definitely heard me say this before on this channel, but I don't think I'm ever going to stop saying it. Make sure you are failing. Do not construct a life where you do not fail. You need to fail, right? Because there's so much value in failure. And that's exactly what Edgin shows us. Edgin shows us that there's no fear of a plan that fails. There's no fear of failing. We own, in the best words Edgin said in the whole movie, only when we stop failing have we failed, right? Make plans that fail. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.